What's up, guys? I'm the Bad Wolf, and thank you for coming to Badwolf Unincorporated. This is a personal, educational, entertainment channel full of information from rights, liberties, constitutional law, private law, civil law, criminal law, etc., extraordinaire. And I want to thank you for coming here to learn from me. All of my videos are on this YouTube channel. However, there are paid videos that you can utilize on www.jamesclovett.com. My other main website is blacksite32.com. I appreciate any donations. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. So with that, let's get into the video. This particular video is thus far will be the final right to travel video that I make. And I've seen that some people out there are now utilizing it. They're writing their own books on it. They've got their own videos on it. And of course, there always are going to be the individuals out there who are against this or me or whatever for their own purposes and reasons. And they are totally entitled to do that. What doesn't take away from this is that this is fact. My fact, especially. I can't speak for other people, though I know that many who do this daily, I as well. We have rights. Right to travel in itself is an unenumerated right. What that means is that they never made a specific law stating that you can do this. But we know when this first started, they didn't have to codify or make a code about it. It's just what people did. It was a right. Not all of your rights come from the states or the government or even the Constitution. You already have them. So let's take right to travel step by step, part by part, piece by piece, and let's get into it. As always, hit that bell, like, and subscribe. Welcome to the tribe. The truth will not be denied. I'm just your favorite national, born natural on my own journey. Let's get into it. So, when driving first came around, it was a generalized term that it itself was not codified. It did not have a meaning in Black's Law Dictionary. That came later. The first driver's license that were issued were for chauffeurs, business profit generating individuals who were servicing multiple people that they didn't know. The states came along and said, well, if you're going to be doing this professionally and it's a business and we control who creates businesses, that which is not living, we run. So even though that was a right of a business, we're going to now take that right and convert it into a privilege for businesses and a benefit for living people who want to do this. The law never took away the right for the average private citizen or national of the United States, non-resident, foreign national, anybody else around the world. They don't control that aspect. They control public law for 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. And we, as Native Americans, as nationals, under 8 U.S.C. 1401, have both citizenship and nationality. These are two separate things under 8 FAM 301.1-1, letter B. We have both. You can also look up Cornell Law, 8 USC 1101A 22B, or A and B. We have both, and they are separate things. As a citizen, you have privileges, licenses, and certain things you can do as a business because your name in all caps on the state level to them is a business. On the governmental level, it's you unless you tell them you're a business. So the states regulate that. We, the people, are to regulate ourselves as nationals and private citizens. Now, this doesn't mean that their rules and regulations don't apply 100% to us. They do. We're still supposed to abide by safety, rules, common sense, common law. You cannot just speed around because if you keep doing that, you're endangering public safety. And then now they have the right to administrate you by powers given to them from the government. You cannot go on military bases and do no nuts and then, hey, look, I've got a passport that says do not detain. It's not how it works. It doesn't say cannot arrest. It says do not detain them. Leave them alone if they're not doing anything criminal. That's what the passport, when done correctly as a national, is versus the citizen version of it. Don't believe there's such a thing? Okay. Well, then get a passport, a book, anybody's book, and read the secretary's message right here. It tells you that in there, that there are two separate things. The Secretary of State of the United States of America hereby requests all whom it may concern to permit the citizen / national of the United States named herein to pass without delay or hindrance, and in case of need, to give them all lawful, the real law, aid and protection. This is universal to anywhere where it's accepted, especially here in the United States of America and in the United States Corporation, which is also right here. Those are two separate jurisdictions. The United States Corporation is invisible, de facto, numbered. Public law hovers over the real land, which is the United States of America, unfringed flag, no gold on it, de jure, real, and the republic. They're sharing like this, the geographical area. But the real power is the Constitution. Don't believe me? Ask your AI, ask Google, ask whatever else. It'll tell you what the supreme law of the land is. Now, we know that businesses were the first ones to get them, but then why did people start getting them? People started getting them as chauffeurs, and then the state started saying that if you're going to use the roads, you should or need to be trained in that. So then they would provide schools and whatever else on how to train you to drive, which is a profession, professionally. Once those people were done, they got a license. I said, okay, this is cool. And then guess what happened? They started telling other people, you need a license to be driving on the road. And that was a lie, unless you understand it this way. Driving is for profit. Traffic means commercial purposes. When you combine all these things together, you're operating as a business. And well, looky. The states have already said that your name in a all capital capitis demutio maxima, your name in topography or what it looks like, your name in the UCC book under UCC 1-201 conspicuous format means, because they're operating under the UCC, don't believe me, ask your AI if the states are operating under the UCC, and they'll say yes. So when you read the book in that definition, it says names and things in larger or extra small are commercial by nature, other than the federal government. Federal government under the capitalization rules, their book, the GPO style manual, says they don't operate by any of those traditions, ceremonies. But if you tell them you are that, then they will allow you to be that because you have that right. So when you get a driver's license, you're saying, I'm waiving in this moment of using this ID and in this event my nationality, my privacy as a private citizen, those rights under the Constitution and more, numerated and unenumerated. I'm waiving all that to be a member of the states. I'm regarding myself as a business in the public, in traffic, doing commerce. And that's why all those signs on the road are primarily for them, but they are a guide for the private citizen to abide by in general. It's all commercial. The states, the Republic of the States are the people. California, Californian. Florida, Floridian. We own the state. We own the land. They're caretaking all of this stuff for us. They are all public trustees. When you're in private capacity, you are their boss. When you become a citizen, you get a driver's license. In those moments, you are the janitor of that same company. You are the lowest on the totem pole. And yet, a real business created within their jurisdiction has more power than you as you operating as a U.S. citizen. But you are supreme, you are superior, you are sovereign, not a sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron that they created because they gave that a stigma so that anybody trying to leave their jurisdiction on paper and do constitutional living, constitutional rights, private law, private rights, right to travel, would be afraid of leaving. Nobody can be prosecuted as a sovereign citizen because it doesn't exist. It's never been codified. You can't be sovereign, which is a king, and then a citizen, which is citus or property of the city. You can't be both at the same time. It's like binary code, 0 or 1, on or off. You can't be both. But you can choose to be either or all day and whatever else. Other than if you're driving, you have their license, their plate, your car is registered to them, your name is registered as a voter, you are a member of theirs. That's why they asked you to prove residency with a piece of mail with your name in all capitalized letters. That is your doppelganger. That is your mask. That is your jester mask. Like owning a business. You're not really the business, but you're kind of intertwined like you are, but you're really not. And if you named that business your same name, well, then the states gave you a business to operate as a member of theirs. And that member is entitled to drive commercially. However, you don't always have to use the license commercially. You have within their public side the ability to operate semi privately, but on their side with their permission. Whereas right to travel, you have a right to be private and to use your private conveyance privately if you do everything right. Now, is right to travel for everybody? Nearly everybody can do right to travel. I've had police officers contact me. Can I do right to travel in my car? Like, yeah, your private car at home if you do everything right. Yes. Your police cruiser? No, because it's a commercial profit generating income vehicle known as a motor vehicle. When you buy a car from the lot, it's called an automobile. But from my last video, we now know that the automobile, even though it's being sold as an automobile, is unique like you. It has the ability to be used for commercial or private use, just like you. The vehicle was produced commercially. It has a VIN number. It is regulated. The VIN numbers are regulated. The vehicle gear shift has drive in it. Drive is a commercial term. It's in Black's Law Dictionary. To transport goods, products, or services for a fee or profit. But the vehicle being sold as an automobile can be used for commercial or private, completely private things. Your driver's license gives you the ability to operate commercially, but within their side of the wall, private side, public side, license, you can ease back from commercial operations and not be in commercial operations, which is a type of being private while not being completely private. Unregulated, regulated private. Regulated private, unregulated private. This is where me and certain people operate over here, or I shouldn't say operate. We exist, we live. Operate is their term, and operate means commercial or for profit capacity, something to be licensed, business. When you are servicing multiple people over here that you don't know, that's public. That's their domain of public business commerce. When you're just doing something for yourself, that's private. Should people do right to travel? That's up to you. Will you be tested? Will you be bothered? Some will, some never have. But here's the thing: cops are just now being taught about right to travel because they didn't know about it. So there's a long way to go before people won't be bothered. And the moment you speed or do something stupid or drunk drive, you're waiving your right under the Constitution to that privacy to now be regarded as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. Why? Because a private citizen, a national, is a non belligerent, non combatant, somebody who has said, I don't need to be governed. I don't need to be regulated. I know how to do all of this myself. But when you don't do those things, stay private, you're making a public controversy. When you do a public controversy, you're waiving your right as a national and you're going to be prosecuted as a U.S. citizen. So, should you do it? Once again, that's a personal choice. Do you have to do it to be private? To be a private national, a private citizen, a national? No, you already have that. You were born with that. You were born with both. If you choose to extend your private rights, liberties, and freedoms into the form of converting, which now is a motor vehicle with a driver's license, back to the private, you can do that. But I tell people before you do that, you need to watch either all or a number of my videos, including this one here. I'm going to bring everything I know into Right to Travel in this video. I try to cover everything, all the updates, all the whatevers. So I'm being very thorough. This is the ultimate video you need to be watching and sharing. With that being said, you should be prepared financially, mentally, physically. You should have systems in place to know that I have right to travel packages, court stuff, whatever. If you get arrested or your car gets towed, these cops who overstep can be sued in their private capacity. You can break through their bonds. You can sue the municipality. Yes, you can do those things. It'll take a little time. It may take a little bit of money. But while you're in the moment, if they're going to try to bust your window or drag you out, even though you're right, if you haven't done anything criminal, and the law states they should not be pulling you over because you have a private or foreign plate, only if you're doing something that's criminal or you have no plate. If they overstep the law, you sue them or the police station or both of them. If you get towed, you can sue them individually or all of them together under RICO because they work together. Did they take you to the hospital and take your blood or do something like that? Sue all of them or each one of them individually. All together would be RICO because they're all working together. This also goes out to the cops out there as well, so they know what's coming. I'm pretty sure you don't want to be sued. Don't listen to your commanding officer or the police station when they tell you you can't be sued. You absolutely can be sued in your public or private capacity. Let's be sued in both. One official and one as living person. Your bonds will protect you to a degree. Your what do they call it? Risk management, your blanket policy. Yeah. And then now everybody's goes up a little bit because that's how the insurance makes money. I'm not saying this to scare anybody, right? To travel or cops. What I'm saying is these are facts. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt if they don't have to. So you have to be prepared that if you get arrested unlawfully, that you're going to need to know your rights. You're going to need somebody to come get you out. You're going to need to get your vehicle out. And I've made videos on all of those avenues. So watch those other videos. This part is exclusively just for right to travel. Now, when it comes to right to travel, one of the first things that comes to mind is if you're going to do this, is your license. If you have one, you're going to want to surrender it Take a picture of it, get your numbers off of it. You may need that later. You're going to want to close it out. They all have forms to close out your license. And if they don't, you make your own. And then you write them a letter and you keep a copy of it. I like to have nothing with my physical address on it so they cannot force joinder. What is force joinder? If they can find out where you live with your name when they look in the computer, they see your name and the address and especially the zip code, that means you're a US citizen to them. Don't give them joinder. I travel with my passport or my own homemade ID underneath my government that I created, my own entity. We'll get to that part later. If you drive CDL, do you have to give up your license? No. I would suggest using your passport or a homemade ID from your private entity, and we'll get to more of that a little bit later. You can still do CDL, you just can't use that in your private vehicle. But if you don't have to have it, you don't need it, keep it if you need to make money. But if you're totally on board for doing right to travel, then it's best to not have that, close out the account. Then they can't use that against you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If you get a passport, I highly suggest you get one if you're going to do right to travel and that you get it done per the videos we've made here as a national placed on the do not detain list. When an officer looks at the do not detain passport, and don't let them lie to you, they all have to have government compliant systems to run the passport. They have to. It is a lie, which can be used against them later on in court. If they say they can't run this, we need something else. It's a lie. Cops, if you didn't know this, guys, are allowed to lie to you completely. Stop believing what you see on TV. TV is, well, television to transport, tell a story in a vision form. Don't believe everything that you see. Read it for yourself somewhere, which is why I'm not telling any of you guys to do what I'm doing or to do what thousands, tens of thousands of us are already doing right now, unless you do your own research. Research the codes I'm talking about, research the information I'm talking about, do your own due diligence. Don't bother me. I already know. I've already been to court. I've already won every single time. The only thing I haven't done because I was learning it is actually take them to federal court and sue them. But we've had other people, my own students and people who use my information, sue them, and some have won as little as 400,000 and some as much as 1.5 million. You're not going to win them over on the side of the road. You're going to win your rights by suing them if you don't do anything to try to create a scenario to then try to sue them, but by doing right to travel peacefully. When an officer pulls you over, they have to have what's known as RAS, reasonable articulate suspicion you've committed a crime or you're in the act of. Speeding at a certain point becomes criminal. Don't do stupid shit. Cause no controversy. It's part of being a national. Non-belligerent, non-combatant, non-confrontational. Are other times to be that? Yes. This ain't one of them. Now, you've surrendered the license. You've got a picture of it, nothing in your car with your address on it. You've got proof that you closed out the license. You should have a travel binder. A travel binder should have all the important documents we're going to talk about here, and you should have two copies, one in your vehicle, one in your safe or file cabinet, whatever you got. Some of the documents that should be in there would be a copy of your closeout of your driver's license. you can have all the laws and codes that I've mentioned here in there, including Supreme Court and federal cases that have ruled in the favor of right to travel. You should also have a copy of your title having been signed over to your private entity. We'll get to that in a minute. You should have a reciprocity agreement where you send it off to the Secretary of State or the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, a letter basically stating, I am private. Please add me to your database I'm not asking to be registered, just to your database so that law enforcement can know that I am peaceful. And in that, I'm using the state's codes under non-resident registration or foreign registration. So I'm abiding by the state, meaning you're playing nice, their rules and regulations for people who are foreign or entities that are non-residents or persons that are non-residents sharing the same area. I offer this treaty and peace agreement. Should have that in there. You should also have a copy of the entity that owns the vehicle. My vehicles are owned by Levitica National Government. I have paperwork drafted where I've received these vehicles and have made my own stampers because I have my own EIN for my entity. Do you have to get an EIN from the government for your entity? No. But does it make you a little bit more like, does it make the position stronger that you have a entity recognized by the government? Don't go through your states to create your entity. Go through irs.gov directly. It's free. Create your own private trust or foreign registration, government, unincorporated association, 508c1a, faith-based, mission, anything like that. Get it right from the government. Once again, do you have to? No. But does it put you in a stronger position if they try to test you? Absolutely. You can do it with just a trust or just a 508 with no EIN because you're really not doing business. But this is also as a form of registration to the government. Not that you need their permission, but you're just saying, hey, in case the states try to get froggy, I want to be good with you because the government wins every time. So you can also create a affidavit of yourself or of your entity or both stating that you are a non-resident. Your entity is foreign registration in relation to them, or your entity is a non-resident too. I would also have a copy of your state's non-resident code section or foreign resident registration section. Have that in there. Hey, officer, how can I help you? Oh, your plate. Okay. Well, actually, here's and have your travel binder already out if you get pulled over on your dash. Do not be reaching around for it. Some of these guys are trigger happy. Some of them ain't right in the head. They're also trained for bad scenarios when they see something that looks a little different. So be ready. Put it up there. If you've got nothing to hide, roll your window down. You have the right to only bring your window down an inch. And that's if they smell marijuana. Otherwise, you can have it smaller than that. But what a lot of them are trained to do is to reach their grubby little mitts in there and break the window, which they're not allowed to do unless they've proven that you've done a crime. Even the smell of marijuana is not a violation. It's not something that they can say is criminal. They have to prove it. Some people say, yeah, Wolf, okay, it sounds all great and dandy, but how do you, really stand on this? How do you really know? You're not a lawyer. You're not a this or that. Well, in fact, I am an attorney, in fact, and I am a private judge, so saith by the government. And I like to buy lawyers' books on how to deal with police misconduct, law, and litigation. I don't have to go to their schools. Matter of fact, I've been doing this longer than most lawyers have even been doing their job. There's a reason why I keep winning in court and my clients keep winning in court. So if you have all of these documents in there, you could have like your bill of sale. I suggest you, if you're going to buy the vehicle, try to buy it in the name of your entity. I've got videos on that. So you have all these things prepared. Now, what would be next? Well, you've already turned in the license. So I would suggest taking a picture, turning in the license plate. And now it's time for you to create your own plate. Create your own plate. And on the top of the plate should be the name of the entity that owns the vehicle. Because at this point, you're now ready to go to the DMV's website or the DMV in person and transfer ownership for $0 or one gold coin, because they don't deal in gold. That's lawful money to your entity. The biggest piece here is understanding that once your vehicle has been gifted over to the entity and you've signed the certificate of title over to the entity, that vehicle is now foreign in relation to the public side because your entity, its name is not in the police's database as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen or business. Now he cannot just ticket, tow, or take the vehicle. It's foreign to him. He can get in so much trouble, lose his job, lose his house, all of that, especially if you put a UCC1 lien against your vehicle. Put a $1 million lien against your vehicle and on the UCC. Protect your stuff and yourself. Put a lien against your straw man because that's who he thinks he's dealing with. Most police officers don't know when they're dealing with you and they're talking to you, they think they're really talking to you. But by law, he's a corporation. Corporations can only talk to and deal with other corporations. So he's talking to your state created corporation, which is your same name in all caps. They don't know this. To them, it sounds crazy because their legal department doesn't tell them. Their commanding officer who knows about this doesn't tell them. The older guys who work the day shifts, a lot of them know about it. So usually if you're going to be bothered, it's going to be someone who's on shift towards the later part of the day and night. These are going to be your younger guys. These are going to be your military guys who, once they're told something, they think that's all there is to life in the world. Retired, younger military. They take orders. They're willing to hurt. And the courts are okay with it. And the police system is okay with it. But we, the American people, are not okay with it when we are exercising our God given constitutional rights, so protected by the Constitution and the government, and the states and them have taken an oath to protect you. And you shall not be deprived of your life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. These are your also enumerated and unenumerated rights. The law states if you're not hurting anybody, you're not endangering public safety, speeding and doing other crazy stuff, drunk and driving, whatever else, you have a right to exercise that. We don't need a numbered law for that. But Arizona or New Mexico, one of the two, they're actually pushing to bring right to travel onto the statute level. Guys, we've been making changes. We're changing the future right now. We're course correcting it. Whether it'll pass or not, don't know. We don't need it to pass, but it would be better if it did. But the DMV doesn't like it, and some states don't like it because then they're going to lose money. And they're like, well, then we won't know who these people are in their private capacities, in their private automobiles. Now, that part I understand. That can be a little nerve wracking. But see, the cops still have the ability to pull you over if you're doing something criminal or illegal or suspicious. As somebody who likes the thought of a police officer getting behind a van and maybe the blinkers are wrong or there's a little kid in the back in their hand or they're in the window. Sure, that makes me happy at night knowing a cop can go behind them and go, let me just run their plate. This guy's known for this, this, and this. And on that suspicion, I think I'm going to pull them over. Can you do that without the plate? Yes. Do cops run your plates right now without your permission? Yeah. Are they supposed to do that? No, they're not supposed to. They're actually supposed to get into trouble for that. But most people, that's a gray area. Can't really tell. So I agree with the cops in that aspect, but I also don't agree with the cops who abuse their power, who abuse the license plate reader, who abuse the flock system, who abuse the courts, who abuse constitutional rights, who don't know private or constitutional rights, who hurt people, who've unalived people, who've essayed people. I get it's a hard job. If you can't do the job, then don't do it. It's as simple as that. I don't agree with the cops who don't report bad cops because y'all know who they are, but the system kind of protects them. So, cops, if you're going to report the bad ones, do it anonymously to the, what is it, Internal Affairs, IA? Oh, another thing, I'm about to make a video on this. Just so my good cops know out there, people have been reporting to the FBI certain police stations, police officers who've been bothering people doing right to travel. I may be privy to certain information. That's all I'm going to tell you. And just so you know, what the FBI has been doing educationally for everybody, as you can see, I'm not against good cops. They've been putting some of their agents, especially of my color, in vehicles that are properly done up under right to travel to see how you respond to Americans exercising their constitutional rights. So be careful out there. And I guess this goes for the bad cops too. So I don't want to hear anybody say I'm against cops. Really not. Not the good ones. But the bad ones aren't cops. The bad ones are sovereign police individuals. And we can't have sovereign police doing whatever they want to do as policy enforcers for a public for profit municipality corporation headed by a board of members who likes to watch my videos as well. I know things. Moving on. You've created your plate. You can put whatever you want on the plate. The top must say the name that owns the vehicle because that's a jurisdiction. That in itself is a legal state. You should have exempt, or if you're in California and you're abiding by their rules, it should state in that bottom right corner an expiration date. Okay, put the year 3000, whatever, 2150, whatever. You can put your name, you can put your logo. I've seen people put the matrix code on there. Some of the terminology I would put in the bottom of my plate, which I already have on mine because I know what I'm doing. You can put non-domestic, non-US, foreign vehicle registration, private diplomat. You can put non-resident registration, anything along those lines. And that tells the police officer when he's behind you, and they do like to get behind you sometimes and look at these things, what's going on. Now, some of these cops, because I'm going to give out that information too, they get up close to you, they get up close on your bumper, they'll try to, they'll pull up next to you, look at you. These are their intimidation tactics to see if you're going to be weird, panic, run, do something crazy. And if you do that, you just gave them the ability to interfere with your private activity. Really shouldn't say activity, that's their word. Your private affair, ongoing event. You've waived your right, you freaked out, you panicked. So you've got all of this done. Now you choose the vehicle that you're going to use. Put your plates on, get back the old ones, take pictures, get back the driver's license, take pictures. You have some of this information in your binder, some of this you just keep at home. You pick your vehicle, you go to the DMV website or the DMV itself, and you update it with what entity owns that vehicle. Because when an officer pulls you over or looks at your VIN, and don't hide your VIN, we don't need to do that. And in some of my old vehicles, I said you could, you still can, you don't need to. We don't need to hide anything when we're doing it right. I recommend also don't make your plate look like a government plate. Don't make it look like a state plate. That is absolutely stupid. Because if it confuses a cop, he can pull you over because he might think it's fraud. You making your own plate is not fraud. It's not a fictitious plate. It's not a fake plate unless your vehicle is registered under your legal name to them as a member who should have a state provided plate. No matter what the cop says, doesn't matter. He doesn't know the law. He's not a lawyer. He's not an attorney in fact like me. He's not the legal department. He was never taught that. So he's going off of his emotion. And sorry, but you know who goes off of emotion? Crazy people, belligerent ex girlfriends, kids, animals. And that's what they want to invoke in you as an emotional response. Don't give them that. So if you have all of these things in place, you just converted the name over. When a police officer pulls the VIN, he's going to see that it's registered to an entity that's not in his database, which then means your car and its ownership is foreign to him. He may ask you for a driver's license. If you give him one, you're saying you are a driver. Believe it or not, now that I know the law even more so, that's actually still yet okay. But it does mean you are a licensed driver. And if you were speeding, he can give you a ticket. Your vehicle is private international property. You can't touch that. Let's flip it. You don't have it, but you give him a passport. Your passport, he runs it. He'll say you're on the do not detain list. He'll look at the vehicle. It's out of his jurisdiction and so are you if you've done nothing criminal. But through personal experience, what if he takes your name off of the passport and runs it through his database? That's illegal. It's fraud and identity theft. He can be sued for that. That's forcing joinder, a federal offense. He is forcing you in that moment to be something you're not trying to be right now, or you are not at all, or that account was closed. He's using old and outdated information, which is fraudulent. You use that in court. Should you have a normal driver's license plate from the state, be a full member of theirs, and then try to use the passport? No. Because when he pulls you over and he runs the vehicle and that's the same name, and he can see that you're still a licensed driver, if he chooses to run the passport out of curiosity, he doesn't have to go by it because you're a licensed driver. You cannot be a licensed doctor, operator, or whatever else in the commission, which is what you are when your vehicle's moving and it's registered and you have registration, and then say, well, yeah, I know my license driver and I know my plates are registered to you guys, and I know through all the paperwork and agreements I agreed to this. But I really want you to look at me as a 12-year-old girl right now. He does not have to then accept your passport. And many cops have. Cops, you don't have to do that. You are within the full extent of the law. I'm not going to lie, even to the police officers on this shit. This is the truth. Know the law. I'm not here to hide shit. I'm not here to be like, oh, I'm just all over here. No, I'm teaching everybody how to play the game. Them's the rules. Nothing should be hid. Ain't nobody scared. Let's go. Cops, you can still give them a ticket, even if they have the passport. They do not have the right, when in a licensed vehicle and they have an active driver's license, you do not have to accept the passport and be like, oh, well, I guess I do see you're on the do not detain list. So now you let them go as a courtesy? Yes. Cops have that leeway. But if you've run some lights and got us, you know, been speeding, he doesn't have to go by that. He can still do his job. And as well he should. Facts. Sorry, I know I probably pissed off some of the people in the right to travel movement. We'll call it the right to travel revitalization. It's not a movement. We've already had it. It's never gone anywhere. It just got forgotten by most people. But I know some wealthy people who have made their own plates and have grandfathered plates. Matter of fact, that was one of the first people who helped get me into this. Multi-millionaire on the East Coast. If you're still watching my channel, I forgot your name. I apologize. It's been years. But reach out and say something. I appreciate you. Thank you for all that you've done and helped with. And I still have lots of military, police, government, certain other things, contacts. And I appreciate all those people who have given me info to help me get me here and to help all of you guys. So there's a lot of people in a lot of different places that are helping, but they can't help directly. They're too high profile, or they're, you know, confidential agents, or this, or that, or the other. So you've done all of these things. You're abiding by the rules and law. You're not waiving anything. And somebody says, oh, well, you can't do that. That's not a law. You don't have that. I don't think you understand how the law really works. These people who create statutes and codes and regulations are not our boss. That's a membership. And if you're a member of theirs in the moment of that event, then they do apply wholeheartedly. When you're in private capacity, you are their boss. Now, that doesn't mean that you should go around talking shit to cops or whatever else. Not a good idea. But do you have that as a right? Absolutely. That's what the Constitution says. Anybody. Cops aren't above the law, right? I can talk to anybody however way I want. But that doesn't mean that in the moment it's a good idea and that somebody may not try to put some pibbity paps on you. That goes for the hood. That goes for a cop. Goes for a judge. You can the laws don't mean nothing when someone's got their face tenderizer doing his business. For any of them, myself included. Be careful how you talk to people. Period. So, is right to travel a real thing? Yes. Federal courts have already ruled in our favor. Local courts ruled. Otherwise, I'd be locked up right now. I had 2 warrants when I first started doing this because I didn't do it right. I didn't do all my research. I was trying some shit. I started learning from Jackie Fig. God rest her soul. And then we made it to what it is now. We revitalized a lost right that was never enumerated, meaning to make into numbers. It's not a numbered right, but it's real law, which is what is decided in the federal and Supreme courts. We have that right. It has never been taken from us. I asked chat, I searched the internet. Sometimes you have to reverse engineer things like the government does with UFO technology or UAPs by EBEs. And when I searched, and don't forget to join me on Badwolf Unrestricted, my other YouTube channel. Help me over there. Keep in mind that I also have two new Facebook groups. Then one word, Badwolf Unincorporated. The one word, Badwolf Unrestricted. Please join me over on those and join our newsletter on blacksite32.com. Some people have asked me if they can re-upload my videos. Yeah, you can re-upload, especially if you're not talking shit. I will get a percentage of it and you'll make money on it too. That's how YouTube works. So yeah, if you're giving some positive critiques, I don't really mind that. If you're not calling me out of my name or this or that or trying to make me look stupid, oh, the most dangerous sovereign citizen, then yeah, I'll file to have it pulled down. And if anybody sees videos like that of me, report them so that it can be brought to my attention because then I can sue them, especially for bullying, slander, defamation of character, and denial of my rights because these are rights. A lot of you guys don't know that not all of your rights have to be numbered. So the federal court and the Supreme Court have already ruled in our favor, but there's different types of right to travel, but they've ruled on all of these already. A lot of these gurus have not read through all of the federal court cases nor the Supreme Court cases on the different types of right to travel. So they're, well, I was just going to say they're stupid, but we'll say in this case, they're ignorant. They have not done all of the research because they don't have a passion for this. They're not doing, most of them aren't even doing this. That'd be like me talking about childbirth is easy. It's for some. Or me saying, oh, being a brain doctor, whoop, okay, you cut a hole and you pull out the bad area. It's not hard. No, it is because they specialize in it, so they know more than me. I specialize in this, so I know more than them. I told you guys a long time ago where my IQ was in the 160 range. Well, since testing it again, I'm now in the 170 range. So apparently I've gotten smarter. I've beaten legal departments, I've beaten judges, I've beaten prosecutors, city prosecutors, cities. When you know the law, but see, I'm not a normal person. A lot of people are ashamed to say this. I'm not. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on here, but what is it? One, I'm autistic. It's one of the reasons why I'm really good at what I do. Two, it takes me a long time to read. So I thoroughly and slowly read. I've been working on increasing my speed. I'm not afraid to say this is what I am. This is what it is. I'm not here to be perfect or Prince Charming or whatever else. What else? I'm also dyslexic. I see and read and whatever else these things backwards. Kind of helps me in this backwards ass society and backwards ass laws. All the things that they took and they created on the public side are the mirror, back, reverse, and often wrong of the real world. We don't need these things if people operate or act appropriately. They put their own version in here to quantify things so they had more control. The public, excuse me, the private, you are to be in control of yourself. The public is when they're in control of you because you can't control yourself. But they've branched that into controlling everybody by fooling everybody into using their 14th Amendment U.S. citizen status. And it's not status change or status correction. You have standing and you already have it. You're just waking up or revitalizing that which you had. You're dusting it off. You didn't know you had it. This is right to travel. Now, let's handle some of those people out there who talk about that I just told you already had the right. I already told you that no law ever took that right away. Show me. Show me what law took away the right for a private citizen, foreign individual, non-resident, that he could not use an automobile or his conveyance privately on the roads that we own because we paid for them with our money. Police don't own the roads. Courts don't own the roads. States don't own the roads. Government doesn't own the roads unless it's a government built owned road or highway or freeway. They're charging a fee, then they own it. They pay for it with their money, even though it came from our money. The regular roads are ours. They were our paths. They were animal paths. They turned into our paths and roads. We paid for them. They are ours, but they can be used for public or private use. Period. So let's take a look at something that backs up what I'm saying. I've been saying this for years, but I'm going to put it in this video. It's one of the tools that we use when going to court. Once again, I hope everybody is positive. I hope everybody is good and healthy and well. Take care of yourselves and each other. Let's continue this. All right. So remember how people said that doing this stuff is not an enumerated right? There's no law, there's no code. Well, superior law, superior code is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. It's the Supreme Court cases and the federal cases. Supreme Court are usually called opinions. Now, let's take a look. Let's go with what does the Ninth Amendment say? Okay, so let's drop down here to Cornell Law EDU, who have improved some of their codes by watching my video. So I thank you to those writers of law out there. The Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment was James Madison's attempt to ensure that the Bill of Rights was not seen as granting to the people of the United States only the specific rights it addressed. In recent years, some have interpreted as affirming the existence of such unenumerated, meaning not numbered, rights outside of those expressly protected by the Bill of Rights. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Other rights. Ninth Amendment, 1791, to the Constitution of the United States, part of the Bill of Rights, formally stating that people retain rights absent specific enumeration. Do you understand how powerful that is? And they're chopping it, so don't worry, we're not done yet. But it says what again? Part of your Bill of Rights, stating that people retain rights absent that have not been enumerated, meaning if there's no number to something that's a you consider to be a right, you can do it by claiming the Ninth Amendment as a defense or an offense. So you have rights that aren't written, that the state or the government didn't put into play. And y'all can not like the government all you want, but they're there to protect and ensure your rights. Yeah, they do some shady shit, but they do a lot more good. Yeah, they're horrible with numbers, and a lot of money tends to go missing, $9 trillion, 9/11, and stuff like that. But yeah, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. It says here, it says, these liberties presumably unworthy of the Constitution, not that they're unworthy, but they don't want people to think that they're unworthy of protection. This is why the Ninth Amendment was born, is that these unenumerated rights are not exhaustive and final, meaning you have them. The government, the founding fathers, they said, we don't have to name every single right. Do you have the right to walk down the sidewalk or on the street? Yes. But the state says they'll give me a ticket for jaywalking. This is true. You should use common sense. Can you fight a jaywalking ticket with the Ninth Amendment? Yes. The jaywalking ticket is for persons who are public 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. But does that mean you should just jaywalk on the freeway or whatever else? No. If you're walking down the street and they give you a stupid ticket like jaywalking, and in your heart and mind, you are walking down the street, you were not causing a public controversy, you were not doing any criminal activity, you were not hurting anybody, no cars were coming, you weren't stopping traffic, you weren't being a problem, a belligerent or combatant, then yes, you should use the Ninth Amendment. I have the right to walk down this street without causing chaos as a financier of the road, as party to being a private citizen and constitutional person. I have that right. And if you have not been doing anything, like I just mentioned, they have to abide by your rights. So does the police officer. He took an oath to protect the Constitution and the people of the United States. What they meant was is the nationals, but also secondary, the 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, in my regard, is a second class citizen. They are not the primary. But hell, there are also second class nationals. Who are they? The ones from Samoa and Guam, the ones who can get a passport, also to be on the do not detain list, but also where the government agencies, police officers, and certain websites and other things get it wrong, because there are two types of nationals: 8 USC 1401, 8 USC 1408. They are not the same thing. But for the passport purposes, they put us all under national of the United States. That should really be two different categories, but they lump us together. That's it. It is not a big conspiracy thing. So all those people that were talking shit about me, even if they are my color or not, eat it. We have these rights. If you were born here or you naturalized, you have these rights. Just because you come here does not mean you have all of our rights and freedoms and liberties. I'm sorry, that may bother some people, but I have to play the law by the law. Just because you come here doesn't mean you have the right. Now, as the raw law is written, if somebody if any offspring is born here, they're born on American soil. They now have a right. It doesn't mean the parents have the right to stay here and do whatever they want to do, but the offspring does. The offspring just got nationality first and citizenship. Now, if we, the people, don't like that, we need to make an outcry. Because, see, here's the thing, guys. If you don't sit here and tell them what you want and what you don't want, they're going to make more laws and rules for the 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. The national, which they haven't added anything to, would be amendments, the Bill of Rights, Constitution, and Declaration. Our shit is good. Our rights haven't gone anywhere. But what they're trying to do, because they can't tear this apart without our either help or our own undoing, our wanting to not do this. So what they're doing is it's a type of corporate takeover. If they can effectively get so many people from here over here forgetting these rules and laws, they have effectively then covered everything in corporate statutes, rules, and regulations. Ergo, thereby effectively destroying, burying the Constitution. But see, this is where they get their power to do what they're doing here too. And without it, where's the beef? They crumble and fade into existence. Now, I'm not here to take over anything. I'm not here to rage or stage a coup or this or that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying if you don't want them to have as much money and power and control over you, then don't be a belligerent or combatant and take your ball and go home and operate, or excuse me, live in the private. Do you have to get rid of everything? No. You can still use some of the straw man things. It's what it's there for, but at least now you know what it is and you're learning how to use it. We can all get along in the sandbox, but their sandbox is the District of Columbia. All right, we're back. So, right to travel key points, giving them back their stuff, closing it out, and having proof of that. You can also contact them and under right to deletion, ask them to remove all of your information. They may or may not do it. By law, they're supposed to do it, but we don't have a solid amount of laws enforcing that, real laws on that. But once again, could you exclaim that under the Ninth Amendment? Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. And there's also, like I said, a code right to deletion. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, which states that if the government, meaning the real government, the federal government, not the American government per se, because we don't have that, but the federal government, if they say that the DMV needs to keep your information, then they have to keep it. But if that's not in place and you ask them to delete it or remove it, they are supposed to. Otherwise, you can send them a fine for it, for keeping your information. You can also sue them over it, and you can sue them again if a cop pulls you over and uses that outdated, fraudulent information against you. Right to travel does not give you the special right to speed or do crazy things. It does state that you have the right to move with the flow of traffic and sometimes a little faster, but does not give you the right to speed or endanger people and their lives and their loved ones, or me and my life or my loved ones, because you feel like it. You have rules at your house, you have rules between your lady or your guy. Respect the rules, they're there for a reason. But understand you also have rights, freedoms, and liberties. They give you privileges. When you switch from the private to the public, you've joined a membership like the Boy Scouts or the 4-H or the Water Buffaloes or whatever it might be. And you must abide by those rules. You agree to them. And if not, well, then you're not a sovereign citizen. You're a citizen disobeying the rules that you already agreed to. Don't do right to travel because some guru told you have to be free or private. That's a lie. But you have to look at things in shades or facets or degrees. This part of your life, keep your license, drive, pay your fees, do what you're supposed to do, mind the speed limit, or do right to travel. Be private, stay under the speed limit. Don't be a belligerent or combatant. Live free, no fees, but you must uncontract to get there appropriately. And you must be prepared to defend it publicly. This does not mean fighting the cop on the side of the roads. His biggest thing is matching your legal name registered to the state, registered as a driver, registered as a for the license plate. If it says that name owns the vehicle and he can find it in his secondary computer system as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen registered to the state, then that's what you are. Can a person, I'll wait until the slow mo hack that they like to put into place, whatever stops. Can a normal person with a driver's license just drive? Yes. Should you mix them? Not really. It's confusing for them. They're still learning what's going on. If they're good cops, they'll learn it, they'll look it up. The information will speak for itself if you follow everything I mentioned here. They'll know it. It's already happened. And if they're bad cops, well, then they're going to do whatever it is they want to do. And by law, you have the right to protect yourself. But I urge you not to do anything crazy unless you fear for your life and safety. And then that would be a citizen's arrest and you protecting your constitutional rights and defending yourself in an unlawful position. But remember, a lot of them don't know this information. So don't try to be a hero. Cooperate, live through the experience, and sue them and get paid and have it made in the shade, if that's what it comes to. With that being said, I take no responsibility for how you move. This is all education, information, and for some entertainment purposes only. That's right to travel. Be safe out there, whether you're driving or you're traveling. And I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to check me out on my other channels. And you can find me on Blackside32, jamesclovett.com, Facebook, The Badwolf Unincorporated, The Badwolf Unrestricted. And of course, right here. I'll talk to you guys later. Stay blessed.